Welcome back. Wars. Perpetual wars. That's all I see when the leaders of France and the UK speak. All I see are globalists. All I see is the WEF. Here, you'll find out the real reason this war started, but first you need to decentralize. Check the links for crypto. Free crypto from America's most trusted exchange, Coinbase. Learn and earn. First up, we hear from Italy's Prime Minister. Then, stay tuned for what you need to know about the Ukraine-Russia war and why it really started.
And I know that with Donald Trump leading the United States, we will never again see the disaster we saw in Afghanistan 4 years ago. So, border security, energy security, economic security, food security, defense and national security. For a simple reason, if you are not secure, you are not free. And when freedom is at risk, the only thing that you can do is to put it in the wiser hands. That is why conservatives keep on growing and are becoming more and more influential in European politics. And that is why the left is nervous. And with Trump's victory, their irritation has turned into hysteria. Not only because conservatives are winning, because conservatives are now collaborating globally. When Bill Clinton and Tony Blair created the global leftist liberal network in the 90s, they were called statesmen. Today, when Trump, Meloni, Milei, or maybe Modi talk, they are called a threat to democracy. This is the left's double standard. But we're used to it. We are used to it. And the good news is people no longer believe in their lies. Despite all the mud they throw at us, citizens keep voting for us. Because simply, people are not naive as the left considers them. They vote for us because we defend freedom. We love our nations. We want secure borders. We preserve businesses and citizens from the green leftist insanity. We defend family and life. We fight against wokeism. We protect our sacred right to our faith and our free speech. And we stand for common sense.
What was Putin's intention in the war? Not the propaganda that's written about this. Oh, that they failed and he was going to take over Ukraine. The idea was to keep NATO, and what is NATO? It's the United States, off of Russia's border. No more, no less. When the Soviet Union ended in 1991, and an agreement was made that NATO will not move 1 inch eastward. Now, what happened after 1991, the United States decided there would be no end to eastward enlargement of NATO. And the decision was taken formally in 1994. When President Clinton signed off on NATO enlargement to the east, all the way to Ukraine and into Georgia. So the NATO enlargement, as you know, started in 1999 with Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic. And Russia was extremely unhappy about it. But these were countries still far from the border. So the next round of NATO enlargement came in 2004. With the 3 Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, and Slovakia. At this point, Russia was pretty damn upset. So as everybody recalls, in 2007, President Putin said, stop, enough. And of course, what that meant was in 2008, the United States jammed down Europe's throat enlargement of NATO to Ukraine and to Georgia. This is right up against Russia. And Russia protested because if Russia decided to have a military base on the Rio Grande or the Canadian border, not only would the United States freak out, we'd have war within about 10 minutes. And a month later, a war broke out. That gets Georgia destroyed. And starting in 2010, the U.S. put in Aegis missile systems in Poland and then in Romania. And Russia doesn't like that. In 2010, Viktor Yanukovych was elected on the platform of neutrality. Russia had no territorial interests or designs in Ukraine at all. What Russia was negotiating was a 25-year lease for Sevastopol Naval Base. That's it. Not for Crimea, not for the Donbass, nothing. In 2014, the U.S. worked actively to overthrow Yanukovych. Everybody knows the phone call by my Columbia University colleague, Victoria Nuland, and the U.S. Ambassador Peter Piot. Listen to it. It's fascinating.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience, and, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make...
You don't get better evidence. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. And one of the issues on the table in December 2021, January 2022, was, does the United States claim the right to put missile systems in Ukraine? And Blinken told Lavrov in January 2022, the United States reserves the right to put missile systems wherever it wants. So the war started. What was Putin's intention in the war? It was to force Zelensky to negotiate neutrality. And that happened within 7 days of the start of the invasion. Ukraine walked away unilaterally from a near agreement. Why? Because the United States told them to. The idea was that there would be Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Georgia that would deprive Russia of any international status by blocking the Black Sea. And the American senators, who are as nasty and cynical and corrupt as imaginable, say this is wonderful expenditure of our money because no Americans are dying. It's the pure proxy war. And since the U.S. talked the negotiators away from the table, about 1 million Ukrainians have died or been severely